to be donors to their own humanitarian projects or programs so they can do humanitarian work in the way that they really want to do. And another mission of mine is obviously helping humanitarians be independent of the dependency of the system. And how can we get that independence? And I have figured out one of the reasons that we are not able to get that independence that we wish is because of not being able to make the money side of things work. So I wanted to today talk about how I have replicated my UN P3 salary and more within 2 years. And while being from Kyrgyzstan, while not having all the support system, in fact, when I was leaving UN, I was in charge of supporting financially 7 families. And I've been able to do that as well during COVID times. And I wanted to get more details about how I have done it. And I'm really trusting that this will arrive to people who are really thinking this is the problem, this is the reason why they're not able to leave what they don't want to and do something that they would like to do. Hi, my name is Isela Ruanova. I'm a life coach for transitioning humanitarians, and I'm so honored to do this work with so many of you. And I wanted to uh, address some of the objections that people keep having about why they're not leaving UN or any other humanitarian work if they wish to, if they choose to. And number one reason I see it for many people is fear of not being able to sustain themselves and their family members and keep their UN or whatever lifestyles they were having. And that's why they keep tolerating things they don't want to, right? They keep staying in the system even if they don't want to, even if they don't believe in the cause or how things are done. And if this is you, this is for you. So I would say that there were 3 main ways that I was able to replicate my UN P3 salary um, that I think might be very useful for you to really tune into. The first way that I have done it is I needed to calm my wild emotions and fears around how this is not going to work. Like I think in a lot of the talks that I've been giving recently, I was invited by UNHCR, by UNICEF, by WHO, and I don't remember now, by other organizations to talk about this. And I was really talking about how when I was leaving UN, I think one of my main like default emotional state was, oh my God, I don't know if it's going to work, how it's going to work. And then the fear and doubt and I don't know, name it, frustration, whatever it is, that were so dominant to a point that I was just searching for evidence of how this is working, whether it's working, what am I going to do? What am I going to do in case it doesn't? Then this kind of things, right? Even in the moment at the time I had savings, and I talked about this as well in previous videos. And in case you are new to me, I have saved up $60,000 before leaving UN. And I thought that would be enough for 1 year or 2 years. I think even maybe I expected 2 years, but then it ran out very fast because I started traveling the whole time. And it's ironic also that during COVID time, I traveled the most than any other time I traveled, and because of family and all the different things. So anyway, coming back to, I think the major problem that we face when we are leaving UN and starting something on our own is this emotional attack, as if emotional wave that comes up that says this is not going to work, you're going to fail, and then you're this, you're that, da, 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 all of those things. So I needed to learn to not only process my emotions but stop creating them. So, and then one of the ways that I realized that I was like so much creating and generating those emotions was because I was just believing that someone else tell me what to do. Right? I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm doing. I want to coach people. That's for sure. I know how to do and I will love doing it. But everything else, I have no clue how to do. So I was just like, okay, tell me what to do. And then like going to someone, it reminded me of my time in Germany when I first went to study. I remember like approaching every professor and saying that, please tell me what to do. I'm so confused. I don't know what I'm doing and how I'm doing. And they were like, you are an autonomous, independent human being. You figure out. And I was like, my God, you're not going to force me and hold me accountable for all the things. And they were like, no, you're accountable to yourself. And I was so afraid that I wouldn't be able to be accountable. And I think that's the same thing that happened is that the first thing that I think happens for many people that we just keep having a lot of these emotions and we don't know what to do with them. And therefore the likelihood of us giving up, likelihood of us leaving it the way they are, likelihood of us just going back to what we know is so high and was for me as well. And that's why I needed to learn to process emotions, A, and understand what were causing those emotions, B, and then C, learning how to not generate them anymore because they were just standing in my way of getting to what I wanted to, right? Because my goal was if I can replicate my UN P3 salary after leaving UN, doing what I want, then I have made it. That's my success story, right? So that's how I have viewed myself. That's how I have aimed for, but I had no clue how that would turn out and how that would come out, right? I had no clue. So that's why the first thing I think I struggled with a lot of different emotions, a lot of different ego trips. And like I remember specific moments where I used to email some people and they would all like ignore me, or I would organize dinners and then not many people would come. And then my ego from UN, which was like, oh, I used to be head of office, so everyone would jump on my invitation to come over. Now that I was inviting people, no one was showing up. And I was like, oh, I feel so bad, right? So those are the emotions that I need to process through, learn how to deal with them, and also learn how not to let them limit me or give up on my dreams or affect me in the negative, right? So I have learned, in other words, how not to let my external circumstances, my results keep affecting me in the negative. So I kept going to creating what I wanted to. The second thing that helped me to like really understand what was going on is my identity, right? I keep talking about identities a lot lately. And the reason why I think it's such an important topic is because I came out of UN with the identity of I cannot do this thing on my own. I cannot get paid the way that UN used to pay me. The only way I would do that is if I would go to another job, but I didn't want I'm able to be successful and outside of UN I'm not able to be successful, right? So that was the identity that I took out. And then the other identity was obviously that who am I to do this? Right? Who are you to do this? And I remember, like, I remember a lot of my clients also telling me that, well, I'm from Burkina Faso. I talked to someone recently, or even today, I talked to a client from Cameroon or another client I was talking from India and they were, or Syria, right? And they were all telling me, well, who am I to do this if I'm from Syria or from other countries, especially my clients from the global south? We all have these ideas of identities of I can't beat all the other people, or I'm not as good as all the other, or even if I am good, I'm not going to be able to be successful because the system will not allow, or competition is fierce, or whatever it is, right? And I was telling them, and I was telling myself this as well, is that I was telling them But if we keep allowing those circumstances dictate us what we can and cannot do, then we're just giving them the right to discriminate us, right? And I don't want that. With whole my body and soul, I don't want to not achieve things that I want in life just because I happen to be from Kyrgyzstan or I happen to be from the global south. I happen to have all the obstacles that maybe many of our Western colleagues and friends don't face. But I don't want that to be determining factor for why I don't get to what I want to. And I was telling every one of them that if we want a fair world in some way, or if we want the world where we get to express and be and do the things the way we want to among everyone else and not let them discriminate us, then we cannot allow those systems or systemic issues stop us. We cannot allow those like feelings of inferiority or feelings of I'm less than or feelings of I don't have the resources or feelings of I'm not going to be able to do this as much as others. We cannot let that define where we're going for, right? And that's why I was like telling everyone that, okay, identity of being someone from Kyrgyzstan who has no other resources but relying on her brain, right? Essentially. And doing this work and making like setting a precedent for making a UN P3 salary or replicating it while doing what you love doing. That's what I want to create. That's the precedent I want to create. If there isn't one, I want to create it so that other people can say, okay, Acel is doing it, so maybe there is a way, right? And nowadays with the internet, I feel like a lot of young people are showing us all the things of what's possible that I didn't even think was possible. So you can imagine how we tend to also motivate us ourselves or each other and set precedents or set new ways of doing things that haven't been done before. And I would like for you and anyone who's thinking about it, let that be the reason why you're doing it, not all the limitations why we can't. Right. So that's why my identity work that I worked through. So essentially in the identity work that I worked through is I am a independent, autonomous, powerful human being that can rely on herself instead of UN or all the privileges. I am someone who can make things work the way I want to, no matter what the circumstances are, because I have worked in war zones and conflict zones, disaster zones. So I have gone through a lot of tough times, like many humanitarians. So we are capable of doing this. And we are capable of doing this in the way we would like to instead of keep complaining about how things are done. And if we are someone who keeps complaining about how things are done, then we better show to ourselves at least how what the alternatives are, right? So that's what I have done. And the third reason that I think is also very important is throughout this experience of transitioning and replicating my UN salary, P3 salary with coaching work, throughout this, I have tried to always stay in the experiment mode, meaning that I'm experimenting, learning this way, experimenting, learning this way, um like not making something wrong or not working because my brain tends to go so much into, oh, this is not working, oh, this is not working, oh, this is not working. But instead, okay, these are the challenges I keep facing along the way, and how do I keep solving them versus, oh, I've tried and nothing worked, right? And I mean, even yesterday I was getting coached on this topic by my coach as to my brain just keeps going there. My brain is like, oh, that's not working, and that's not working, and that's not working. It's never going to work. This never works, kind of like generalized, dramatized brain that my brain always approaches things with. I need to be very careful. So therefore, I always approach things from, okay, I'm capable of solving things, whatever comes my way, and I'm experimenting solving it every time to see how this works and how that works. And I'm open to it rather than, okay, this not going to work. And then I'm giving up and then closing the shop and then feeling powerless and victim and and whiny and complaining and then going back to what I don't want and then feeling like, oh, my life doesn't work, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. I didn't want to be in that energy because I felt like I was in that energy for a long time and I thought, okay, that doesn't make sense if I keep doing this, right? So that's why the third approach is always, okay, what if I'm capable of solving whatever the challenge comes my way? And if that is the case, how would I solve it? And then start solving more and more. And the more I start solving it, the more I start feeling like, oh my God, I'm capable of doing this. I'm capable of doing that. I'm capable of solving things in ways that I didn't know I could, right? Because the great thing about our human mind, I think, is that we don't know what we're capable of until we try, right? And if we don't know what we're capable of until we try, until we actually go through it, then we are more to explore as to like what our abilities are. And I think it's just a mistaken, comfortable assumption that we keep making that, oh, even if I go to this, this is not going to work. Even if that, it's not going to work. And then when my clients tell me, I always challenge them, okay, let's figure out why it didn't work so we can work on making it work rather than keep feeling like I'm right and then not doing anything about it. Because if we keep just saying, oh, I was right all along, this is not going to work, and it didn't work, then we just keep staying in the self fulfilling prophecy, right? And I don't know about you, but I don't like being in the self fulfilling prophecy because I feel like my brain just does tricks me to doing things so that I don't actually solve for things. So all of that uh, like solving things and learning how to solve it, to learning how to analyze things, learning how to see what's working and what's not working in terms of my energy, in terms of my identity, in terms of my actions, in terms of my results. The more I started realizing how I can do that, then the more I started realizing, okay, there's nothing I cannot do because I know how to solve the identity issues. I know how to solve the emotional side of things. I know how to solve the action side of things. And therefore, result is just inevitable. And in the process of doing this, obviously, I needed to learn a lot about marketing, a lot about selling, a lot about delivering and working with clients, right? And the best skills that have helped me to learn so much to a point that I'm now growing so exponentially is I felt very committed from the beginning that no matter what, I'm going to make this work. I never approached it as, oh, let's see if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. Let me just see, right? I didn't approach it that way. I approached it from the place of, I want to be the person who works on things that she really believes in and makes that work no matter what happens. And I've approached it from that place. And therefore, with commitment, obviously, determination came. I also approached it always from the place of very like focus on the things to solve rather than feeling victim and powerless and not solving it because I have been victim of my life for majority of my 30s and I just feel like that's not who I want to be anymore. I don't want to be like sitting around and blaming others or myself or circumstances for how things are not working. But instead, I want to be the person who takes charge of, okay, this is my life. This is how I want to live my life. These are the activities I want to commit to. These are the activities I don't want to do anymore at all. And in order to commit to these activities, this is how I want to do things, right? And if that is you, I just really want to encourage that whatever the worries and fears and I don't know, arguments as to why this is not going to work, those are your objections. And I will be doing some more videos about how to handle your own objections. In other words, your own arguments for why you are killing your own idea. And if that is you, then I also want you to know that you can address and solve those objections and keep going for what you want to. because the more you avoid those objections, like your own objections, right? The more you are willing to then tolerate the life you don't want to. And I feel like it's either we're solving those objections or we're tolerating the life we don't want to. It can't be both, right? And if we are given the choice to either address our objections and get to what we want to, or tolerate what we don't want to, I think a lot of people choose to learn how to address those objections. And objections might be like starting from something very simple sounding like, well, I'm from this country and therefore I have no resources or no whatever, whatever. That's an objection to, I don't have time, I don't have energy, I don't have the resources to do this, to, I cannot afford to get help, or I cannot afford to do this now. I have other things going on and this going on, that going on, to I don't think this will work at all. Even if I try, what if in the end I fail and then everything falls apart? And all of these are objections that we all keep having about our own goals, visions, life, the way we want to live. And essentially living that life, and us, there is like in between, there are all these objections. And the part that I really want people to take away from this message, from this video, is you are capable of addressing those objections, or you are capable of getting help to address those objections. So you keep going for what you want to. And if you choose to, I would love to be your coach to do this work together if you choose to, so that we really get you to a place where, okay, what if I'm also someone who can make a UNP3 salary doing what I love and being a donor of my own project and doing things my own way and doing things in the way that I think should be done? I would like for you to be in that place, because if we are truly in that place, I don't think we would tolerate anything anymore. I don't think we would be going for the jobs interviews that we don't want to. I don't think we would be applying for jobs if we knew how to replicate our salaries or make the money side of things work and do the things the way we want to. I don't think we would be going for anything less or concede to anything less or sacrifice, compromise. I don't think we would be doing it. And the only reason why we're doing it is because we believe we can't do any other way. And my whole purpose is to help you see that, yes, you can. I have done it. A lot of my clients are doing it, and I would like for you to do this as well, if you choose to. Okay, my dears, if you would like to work with me, you know where the link is. I'm so honored and grateful that you've accompanied me throughout this journey. And I would love to talk to more of you about it. So tell me all the questions, all the concerns, all the objections you're having in the consult, and I would love to support you going through them and then starting something that you would like to. Have a beautiful week.